Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm sharing a flip through of my Junk Journal July 2022 journal. It's taken me 16 months to finish it, but I'm so happy it is finished. So Junk Journal July is a journal prompt challenge hosted by Megjournals on Instagram and YouTube. I will leave her links below for you. I have been a part of some of the huge collaborations that Meg has organised in the past for Junk Journal July and Junk Journal January, but in July 2022 I decided to take part fully in the challenge and made this notebook for it. So this is an old notebook cover from Muji. I had already used the inside pages, but I had kept the cover and it was perfect for repurposing into a junk journal. It is a 6 size, so approximately 4 inches by 6 inches. I added one of my vintage linens on the cover and I added a title I created with my Dymo machine. If you like the linen, you can find it as a printable in my Etsy shop. It's pack number 1. So let me show you the pages that I created. On the inside of the front cover, I just added the prompt list. For day 1, the prompt was begin, and I just did a little bit of collage and fussy cut out a flower from a vintage book. And I just stamped the number 1 and added a little phrase sticker and some sparkles. And I did try to keep a little bit of consistency throughout the journal. So there is a stamped number on each day. And I also added some sort of phrase sticker or some sort of saying on each page. For day 2, the prompt was Reinvent. And I wasn't really sure what to do with this small page, so I just added another image that I cut out of a vintage book and I just added a quote, and I've also stamped number 2 down here. Over here I decided to turn a junk mail envelope into a picture frame or photo frame. So I collaged around the envelope with some paper scraps, and then inside the envelope I added some vintage book page, and I also added this floral washi sticker. And I also sewed around the frame as well. I also decided to turn it into a little bit of a pocket, so there's a little bit of scrap paper here that I can add something on, but I never got round to doing that. I also have a video up on my YouTube channel showing how I created this, so if that's something you're interested in, then I will leave the link down in the description box for you. For day 3, the prompt was layered tag, and this is just on this page. So this is the tag that I created. So the stamped number is up here, I've added a quote, and then there are some little silver sparkles as well. And I really like how that tag turned out. I haven't done any writing on the back, and I just created a little pocket for it. Day 4 was transparency, and I just stapled some vellum onto the page. I added a little floral washi sticker, and then the stamped number is here, and there is a quote that says, "Believe in yourself." And this quote is actually a Moo Robon, so they're like stickers, but you need to use a stick just to transfer them onto the page. And I just did a little bit of collage there as well. Day 5 was fold out, and I created my fold out by folding a little bit of the original page and attaching this vintage book page to it to create the fold out. This book page is actually an Edith Holden book. It's from the Country Diary Nature Notes. And then inside I just added this snail image. I did a little collage, stamped the number and added a quote. This is day 6, and the prompt for day 6 was Symmetry. So I fussy cut out this butterfly. I'm not 100% sure where it came from, but I thought that would work perfectly for the prompt. And I started by adding some collage on the page. I also added some pink and white paint. I also stamped the number and added a little phrase sticker. For day 7, the prompt was Bouquet. And I started by adding lots of collage and some washi tape. I also went in with some white paint. These floral images came from a paper bag. I think it was a bag from Cath Kidston. I also added a little quote that says, "Everything blooms in its own time." And I really like how this page turned out. For day 8, the prompt was wallpaper, and I kept this page so simple. I had this beautiful floral embossed wallpaper. It's a beautiful duck egg colour, and I just added this on the page, added a little bit of doily onto the page, and then I found this image that I fussy cut out, added a little quote and stamped my number. For day 9, the prompt was clashing patterns. So this floral image is from a napkin and I decoupaged it onto the page. I did some stenciling with some white paint, and I also used a black pen to add some sparkles, and I also added some little stickers here. I added a quote and I stamped my number. For day 10, the prompt was time out, and I had this stencil that had this clock on it, so I just did that with some white paint. And then I was also drinking some tea at the same time as creating this page, so I just decided to add the tea packet and the little tea tag as well. And that's just stapled in, and this is stapled in too. There's a couple of quotes, and I also stamped the number. For day 11, the prompt was fussy cutting, and I fussy cut this beautiful flower out of a vintage book. I did some collage on the page. I added a little phrase sticker and called that page done. So for day 12, the prompt was dyed, and I added some coffee splatters onto the page, and it's the first time I've ever done that. I do have a video up on my YouTube channel showing how I created this page, so I will leave the link down in the description box for you. I kind of threw everything at this page. There's some collage, there's paint, there's coffee splatters, there's some Moo rub-on transfers, there's stickers, there's washi, there's this giant rose washi sticker, there's this beautiful gold doily, and I still stamped my number and added a phrase sticker. For day 13, the prompt was mirrored, and I added this black and white photograph. It's pretty old because it's one of my granddad's that he took when he was alive, so it feels really special to have it in my journal. I cut out this flower from a vintage book and I added some paint. I stamped my number and added a quote. I don't really like the purple and green colours on this page, so that's a little bit of a shame, but I think it's impossible to like every page that you create throughout a challenge. This is day 14, and the prompt for this one was nature. I do have a video up on my YouTube channel showing how I created these pages, and I love how these pages turned out. So this here is a vintage playing card, and I love the scenery on this one. Over on this page I actually have some pressed flowers that I stuck down onto this label piece, and I just added some staples just to make sure they wouldn't come away. This is a little fold out, and underneath is a little quote, and it says, "And into the forest I go, to lose my mind and find my soul," by John Muir. And there's just some collage, there's some sparkles, the stamped number is here, and I added this little quote here, and these are Moo rub-on transfer stickers where you use a stick to add them onto the page. So we've reached the middle of the journal, and I absolutely love this page. This is for day 15, and the prompt was texture. So I started by collaging onto the page, and I added some texture by scrunching up all of the paper. I also added some stenciling. I added a little doily that has some texture, and then over here is a tag. There's lots of glitter around the edge of the tag, and it just feels so nice. There's also some little fabric bits over here, and these have lots of texture as well. I also added a sticker, and I stamped the number at the top there. For day 16, the prompt was one-sided, so I tried to keep my collage to this kind of half of the page. I also added this floral sticker. I also added a little phrase sticker and also the stamped number. So the prompt for day 17 was go-to palette, and this is where I started struggling with this challenge. I wasn't sure where to go with this prompt because I don't really have a go-to palette, but in the end I decided to go with some washi pieces and paper pieces that I'd used throughout this journal to create my go-to palette. So I created this little title page, and I did some collage, and I added the prompt and stamped the number. And then over here I just did some more collage, and I added 3 different types of washi, gave it a little title, and then over here I actually printed onto vellum for the first time and created like a little swatch page, and I just added some paper scraps that I'd been using throughout the journal, and I just stapled that in, And then underneath I just did some collage and added some paint, and there is a quote there that says, "Life is just a series of trying to make up your mind," which I thought fitted really well with this page because I really did struggle with what to do for this prompt. But in the end, I do love how these pages turned out. So for day 18, the prompt was cut out. So I reused some packaging. It had this beautiful circle window. I collaged the background and added this beautiful butterfly. And then I decided to add some vellum on top of the butterfly. And then obviously you've got the window cut out here. You've got the quote sticker there as well. And I just added some white pen detail to this page. And then over here is day 19 and the prompt was tucked away. So I actually have some ledger paper tucked into a pocket. There is nothing on it, but I can always add something later if I want to. So I just created a little tuck spot and I just fussy cut out this flower image from a vintage book. I added a quote and some sparkles, some washi, and stamped the number at the top. For day 20, the prompt was black and white, and I really don't like how this page turned out. I added a quote, I added the stamped number, and this here is just another one of those floral washi stickers. For day 21, the prompt was focus. Again, I don't like how this page turned out. I kind of went with a red colour scheme, and red is my least favourite colour. And the way that I incorporated focus was it's in the quote. So really loosely, and I actually attached a small page onto this page, so there is nothing up here. It is a pocket and there is nothing in it, but I could add something if I wanted to. So for day 22, the prompt was blended. I added some modern scrapbooking paper. I also have some vintage book page, and then this paper here is actually antique paper. So I kind of blended modern, vintage and antique papers together to create the page. I also added some paint in the background. I fussy cut this flower, added it down to the page, and I also added my quote, and the stamped number is down here. Now we're on to day 23 of the challenge, and the prompt was maximalism, and I really like how this page turned out. Maximalism to me means more is more and a little bit extra. So instead of stamping the number as usual, I actually heat embossed it. So I'm not sure if you can see that there, I hope you can. So I added 3 quotes to this page as well. So I've got, "Now is the time, the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams, and wherever life plants you bloom with grace." I also kind of threw everything at this page. There's some collage, there's paint, there's stenciling, there's washi, there's some ephemera pieces, vintage book page. This here is a floral washi sticker. There's just a little bit of everything on this page, and I really like how it turned out. For day 24, the prompt was paint splatters. So I added lots of gold paint splatters to the page. And I did some collage. I added this sticker. I also added some of these Moo foil rub-ons. I also added the quote and stamped the number. And then for day 25, the prompt was peaceful. So I just wanted to keep it really soft, light and delicate. So I collaged the background, and just to push the images and colours back a little bit, I added some white paint. This here is a floral washi sticker. I also added a quote and some sparkles and stamped the number at the top. And then we're on to day 26, and I kind of think this is where I lost my way with the challenge, because I don't really like how this page turned out. It's very bright and in your face compared to all of the other pages. And the way I incorporated memento onto the page was I just had some bits and pieces from my life. So this here is a tag that came from my Delphonics pouch, which I stapled onto the page. This here is a beautiful image by William Morris. And then this here and this here is from a notebook that I purchased. And then I'm not sure if you can see it, but there is actually a Moo rub-on sticker there. And that came from some packaging as well. And then I just decorated the page a little bit with a floral washi sticker, a quote, a postage stamp, and then I just did some white pen decoration, which I really don't like around this. But there we go. Like I said, I kind of lost my way with the challenge at this point. On to page 27, the prompt was stripped back, and I kept it super simple. I had this photo frame in my stash and stuck it straight down onto the page, And then this here is another one of those washi stickers. So I just stuck that onto the page, stamped the number and called it done. And then for day 28, the prompt was stenciling. So I just collaged onto the page and did some stenciling, and it's this beautiful floral image. And I added this little quote and just decorated the page a little bit more, and that was it for this page. For day 29, the prompt was geometric, and I created this pattern using lots of paper scraps that I used throughout this journal. So you've got some of that duck egg vintage wallpaper, and then these other little paper scraps have been used on some of the previous pages. I also added some little dots, some tissue paper, and added this quote. It says day 29 down here. And then I created this page very recently. It's for day 30 and the prompt was favourite quote. I did print this off of my computer and it says never let anyone dull your sparkle. I just did some collage in the background and I also added lots of sparkles. I'm not sure where the quote originates from. I'm not sure who originally said it, so if you know, please leave me a comment, let me know, and I can add that in down here. And I really like how this page turned out. And then on to the last page, day 31, the prompt was farewell, and I just did a little bit of a collage. I added this beautiful butterfly image, I added some sparkles, and then added a phrase sticker that said done and done. By the time I got here, I was done with this challenge. It's taken me so long to finish this journal, and don't get me wrong, I am so happy it's finished, but my gosh, that was a journey. But that is the end of my journal. I really hope you enjoyed seeing a flip through of this journal. I hope it gave you some ideas and inspiration that you can try in your own journals. I hope you're all doing really well. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.